Good morning. Welcome to the Kansas City, Kansas Public Schools 2022-23 Opening of Schools Convocation.
Good morning, everyone. I am Christal Watson, the Kansas City, Kansas School Foundation for Excellence Executive Director. Through community partnerships that help underwrite new programs and initiatives, the Foundation for Excellence has established a long history of providing resources to further strengthen the district's educational foundation. This is why we are so excited about the various opportunities that await us this year, thanks to our diverse skill sets, talents, and attributes. During the 21-22 academic year, the Foundation raised nearly $500,000 to support various programs and services through our annual golf tournament and other fundraising activities and grants. We funded 15 students with $5,000 scholarships each. We helped families impacted by COVID with their utilities and assisted homeless families under the McKinney-Vento Act with temporary shelter. Nearly $35,000 to date invested in sustaining families and their households. The foundation is here to support the district, but we also need your support. Coming up in September is our annual Day of Giving. This annual fundraising event is vital to generating additional funding opportunities and support for our teachers and classroom needs and other essential services. Any amount you give allows us to make a difference in the lives of our students each year. If you want to volunteer or contribute financially, you can learn more from our website at www.kcksfoundation.org. To our teachers, bus drivers, nutritional service workers, counselors, custodians, nurses, administrators, school support staff, police department, and all employees, remember, you're the engine that make all things go. You are our heroes. You're doing a good job. A good job. Thank you for allowing me to join you this morning. And on behalf of the Foundation Board of Directors and staff, welcome back. Woo! And I wish you a great school year.
You're the engine that makes all things go, and you're always in disguise, my hero.
I see your light in the dark, smile in my face when we all know it's hard.
There's no way to ever pay you back. Bless your heart, no, I love you for that. Honest and selfless. I don't know if this helps it, but good job, you did a good job, good job. You did a good job, don't be too down. The world needs you now. Know that you matter, matter, matter. You did a good job, good job. You did a good job, don't get too down. The world needs you now. Know that you matter, matter, matter. 6 in the morning, as soon as you walk through the door, everyone needs you again. The world's out of order.
It's not a sound when you're not around.
All day on your feet, hard to keep that energy. I know when it feels like the end of the road, you don't let go, you just press forward. You're the engine that makes all things go. Always in disguise, my hero. I see light in the dark. Smile in my face, but we all know it's hard.
There's no way to ever pay you back.
Bless your heart, no, I love you for that. Honest and selfless. I don't know if it helps it, but good job, good job, good job. just for you. You make me feel less.
Good job, you're doing a good job, good job. You're doing a good job, don't get too down. The world needs you now. Know that you matter, matter, matter. You're doing a good job, good job. You're doing a good job, don't get too down. The world needs you now. Know that you matter, matter, matter.
You're doing a good job, a good job. You're doing a good job. Don't get too down. The world needs you now. Know that you matter, matter, matter. Yeah.
Please give a warm welcome for the President of the Board of Education, Randy Lopez.
I'm so mad at you, Edwin. How am I supposed to follow that? I don't even have to really say anything else because you look at those faces on the screen, you look at those kiddos that were singing, and that's why we're all here this morning. That's why we're here in KCK-PS. That's why we're here. I'm not even on script, Edwin. I'm so sorry. But that was beautiful. Let's give those kids a round of applause again. And to our communications team and everybody who helped put Convocation together this morning, we thank you, and we're so glad to be here. Thank you to Washington High School for hosting us. It's great to be here, so let's give everybody a round of applause. Thanks to the support from parents and our community, all of us in the education profession have gradually returned to a sense of normalcy for the first time in 2 years. As we reflect on the past couple of years, we all need to take a moment to congratulate one another for staying the course and giving our all for all of our kids, as we saw in that video. A job well done to each and every one of you. Good morning, buenos dias. My name is Randy Lopez. I do have the honor of serving as president of the Board of Education, and it's a privilege to be with all of you today. And on behalf of our Board of Education, who many of us are here with us, would you wave to everyone, please? We are here to officially celebrate and to kick off a new academic year here at Kansas City, Kansas Public Schools. As we continue to examine COVID's impact on society and learn and adapt in the education profession, some might say it's time to move on, right? While I agree that we're learning to navigate in this new reality, we cannot move forward without fully acknowledging that we are still dealing with the residual effects that the pandemic has created for everyone. The impact of school closures on academics and so much more. The mental health struggle and trauma of grieving and isolated families, staff shortages, frustrations and feelings of not being valued, and so much more. We're doing ourselves and our community a disservice to think that these feelings and these issues have suddenly disappeared and have been resolved because we're transitioning to the endemic phase of the pandemic. Our students, families, and educators are still dealing with these lingering effects. But together we have persisted. Together we have never given up from teachers to bus drivers, custodians, nutrition service workers, counselors, administrators, our healthcare workers, our front desk workers, support staff, police officers, and all of our staff and faculty who have faithfully committed to the goal of providing quality education to all of our students. You're here because you never gave up on our students. You never gave up on each other. And we are a stronger Kansas City, Kansas public school district because of each and every one of you. And all of those watching in your own buildings, at central office, we couldn't do this without you. You each were called for such a time as this. Collectively, we have pulled together to ensure that every student from every background and every neighborhood has the opportunity for that quality learning in person every day. Thank you for balancing the challenging demands of teaching, working, and parenting as we continue to navigate forward with a renewed sense of community and spirit. We appreciate you. You were called for such a time as this. In collaboration with Dr. Stubblefield and our administration, this is why our Board of Education has approved incentives to help boost efforts to recruit new staff and retain our current workforce. Items such as for teachers, all new hires receiving a $1,500 sign-on bonus after 90 days. Part-time hires receiving a $750 bonus after 90 days. Substitutes receiving a prorated amount and potentially other benefits. Retired teachers who are joining the district will continue to receive their CAPERS retirement benefits and other potential benefits. Bus drivers, those who join our team, will get their CDL license and free training and free physical exams and get a hiring bonus as well. The Board of Education also approved to increase the starting salary for all employees, all classified employees, to $15 an hour, and made adjustments for all employees, which saw an average increase of 4%. Now, I realize that these efforts won't fix things, but these are just some of the things that we have done collectively to address some of these challenges. But I'm here to tell you that we need you. Aside from all that, I'm off script here a little bit. Aside from all that, we need you. And I'm asking for your help to help us to create that positive, united learning culture that this district, that this community needs in this year so that we can support student success. It won't be easy, but we need each and every one of you. Thank you for your exceptional dedication to our school district, to our students, to our families, and to this community. You are each called for such a time as this. To our new teachers and administrators and staff, thank you for working with Kansas City, Kansas Public Schools and joining our family. We are delighted to have you on the team, and we look forward to leveraging your expertise and passion towards academic excellence for all students. No matter where we go or what we do, we will find ourselves confronted by difficult situations. But the way we look at them and approach these challenges defines us and our district even more. At Kansas City, Kansas Public Schools, let's continue to work together to set our own course of success. Education may look a little different right now, but through our collective efforts, our students, staff, schools, and district will continue to rise above the challenges, and we will be an example for all. So thank you in advance for helping us to have the best school year that we can have. And I can't wait to see all of the greatness that we will accomplish together, juntos. Échenle ganas y si se puede. Thank you so much for being a part of our family. We're here to support you. Thank you.
Many of our teachers, support staff, and schools were recognized for their exceptional work in education in the 2021-22 school year. We want to take a moment to recognize and celebrate some of our shining stars in the district for their outstanding achievements.
Welcome back to all the dedicated and hardworking members of the Kansas City, Kansas Public Schools community. I am honored to represent the members of the National Education Association of Kansas City, Kansas. Our association is not just a union, but it's also a professional organization that provides opportunities for educator empowerment. Dolly Parton, this year's NEA Friend of Education, said, "Together, let's continue to inspire kids to dream more, learn more, and therefore be more." That is our charge as members of this association, and we will always answer the call of our profession. When we work as a team, we can increase the positive impact both in and out of our classrooms. We can be the dreamers of the future by working together to provide our students experiences that will inspire their natural curiosity, imagination, and desire to learn. We need to continue to raise our voices at all levels. We currently have an education-friendly governor and local legislators. However, we need to make our voices ring out. We need our legislators to stop their attacks on education and our students. We need appropriate funding for education. We need to stop the attacks on our LGBTQ+ families. We need to stop the attacks on our migrant children and their families. Our association is only as strong as the individual members willing to step up and be heard. We are stronger with you. We need active members that will ensure what we have bargained for and what our association stands for is in every classroom, in every school, and every facility in our district. We must become active in the education policy making decisions in order to make real positive changes in the system. When we act in unity, we can change the system. This work is ongoing, and at times it seems to be unending. But I am confident that we, together, will wade deep into this work. We will work as a team to ensure that our students get the education and all of the opportunities that they deserve. Remember the words of Miss Dolly Parton and let us inspire each other and our children to dream more, learn more, be more each and every day. For we are the dreamers, shapers, singers, and makers that will inspire the next generation of dreamers, shapers, singers, and makers. Thank you for your time and have a great year.
School leaders and educators understand the importance and benefits of having meaningful community partnerships. Engaging businesses and organizations with our schools is an easy and exciting way to increase awareness of what we do best, preparing today's students for tomorrow. KCKPS is proud of a new partnership that is making a huge splash in the lives of our students, families, and staff.
We have had the wonderful privilege of having USD 500's Extended Summer Learning Program with us here at the Providence YMCA doing our Safety Around Water program. We are just shy of 500 students, and then we have another 200 going through in July.
We're going to swim with our arms and our legs. So you're going to move your arms like this and you're going to kick, okay?
We've had each group of students here for 6 30-minute lessons learning all about self-rescue and the fundamentals of swimming.
We learned how to float. We did a couple of slightly swim.
It was hard at first, but then I got the hang of it, and then one day, boom, I got it.
It was kind of hard, but then it started to get easier.
Drowning is one of the leading causes of accidental death and is the leading cause of accidental death under the age of 4. And in Wyandotte County, it affects our youth disproportionately.
I really want to know how to swim because one time I was at this lake with my cousins, and my cousin almost drowned. So I just wanted to know so I don't turn out to be one of the victims.
This has been 2 years in the making for Eugene Ware because we did lose a student 2-3 years ago. He drowned, and we wrote a grant, and that's what has been able to provide these free swimming lessons to kids. So many of our kids were scared of the water. I had to talk probably 20 students and families into saying yes because the families were afraid.
It's been such a joy to see students who came in day 1 never having had a swim lesson. By day 6 today, we had the joy of seeing them enjoying the water in a safe capacity. All of our YMCA of Greater Kansas City facilities have a specific swim test that helps us to determine if they are a beginner swimmer or a more advanced swimmer.
Go! That's it, girl! Keep swimming!
We ask that they jump into deep water, surface, and then swim 25 yards on their front. As well as have the ability to climb out of the water safely without the use of the ladder.
How did it feel?
Very good. Because the last time I did this, I failed. So I had to come back and do it correctly. Way to go!
It's just emotional. It's very emotional because Levi was a kindergartner when he passed. He would be here. So it's emotional, and I'm just grateful. And I really hope that we get to do this every summer.
That's what we're talking about.
The Learn to Swim program is just one of many examples of the kind of positive partnerships that foster high quality and engaging learning activities for our students. We want to thank the YMCA of Greater Kansas City, the Unified Government of Wyandotte County and Kansas City, Kansas, Warner Media Group, GEHA, KidZone, and all our participating schools who helped make this program a success. She took on the role as Superintendent of Schools on July 1st, 2021. She has been fully engaged since the first day on the job, listening, learning, and establishing a renewed sense of purpose and direction. She introduced new strategies for increasing stakeholder input and restructured administration to provide better support for schools and teaching and learning in the classroom during her first year. As we look forward to the 2022-23 school year, let's continue to rebound, reimagine, and renew. Please give a warm welcome for our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Anna Stubblefield.
Morning. Now, I know you saw me talking to Edwin. We were having a few technical issues, but we're going to push forward. So I hope everyone in the schools can hear us okay, but we've had some Wi-Fi issues, and it's not our IT department, it's Spectrum. So I just want to put that out there. It will be recorded, and we're just going to move forward. So it's an honor and a privilege for me to join you all today as your superintendent of schools. There is no other place I'd rather be than right here with my KCK-PS family. As we continue to rebound, reimagine, and renew what the school experience looks like for our students, we'll be able to reach our goal of, by 2031, all of our students graduating with the Diploma Plus. Now, I will say, Edwin and his team was like, what's the theme for the year? What's the theme? And I was like, I feel like we still doing this. We haven't quite rebounded. We still are reimagining, and we always have to spend time renewing. So next year, there probably will be a different theme, but last year was a little wacky. So I think we need to get grounded and continue to push forward. So I just want to take a moment to thank T-Mobile and KU Gear Up for sponsoring and purchasing our T-shirts that everyone, all the schools are wearing this morning. They have been great partners. We have been a partner with Gear Up since 1998, KU Gear Up. And their program provides targeted services to all students currently in the class of 23 and 24 to better prepare them to enter and succeed in post-secondary education. And that is in direct alignment with our Diploma Plus goal. I also want to take the time to thank Mr. Cole Amaya and the Washington Wildcats for hosting us. So Washington Wildcats in the house. And I also want to thank Dr. Green and the Eisenhower Eagles. They did give out swag. I'm not trying to make the rest of y'all look bad, but Eisenhower did give out swag to everyone that's here. So the Eisenhower Eagles and Dr. Green, we want to thank you. And we also want to thank Principal Ms. J.P. Hornback and the Hazel Grove Hornets for being in the house this morning. Hazel Grove. And to each of you with your staffs across the district, thank you for tuning in. So it is actually, some may say really, but it's an exciting time, and it's also a challenging time to be an educator or to be a part of the education system. There are so many opportunities to be a part of changes that can have a lasting impact on our students, because that's why we're here. So since accepting this position over a year ago, I'm entering my second year, literally I've heard everything from congratulations to condolences. And I'm like, condolences, really? The extremes of these responses exemplify where we are as a district and as a society. These very responses had me asking myself, how do I, while focusing on our mission and fully recognizing our challenges, meet individuals where they are and not push them to where I think they should be? How do I meet individuals where they are and ensure education equity and excellence so that our students, regardless of their race, ethnicity, gender identity, sexual orientation, family income, or learning ability, will be able to achieve at high levels and graduate with a Diploma Plus? And how do I do this while inspiring excellence for every grown-up, every child, every day? Because that's our mission. So these questions led me, as I shared with you last year, to partnering, not just me, but the Board of Education in the district, to partnering with the University of Kansas to conduct an environmental scan in order to really gain an understanding of where we are as a district. The findings were as followed. Now, when you look at those 10 things, some of you are like, yep, knew that. But one of the first things that the University of Kansas team highlighted was this is a proud community and a dedicated staff. And that right there being the first thing that rose to the top encouraged me as the leader that we can do this together. Now, I'll highlight a couple of other ones. The second one is about me. It's cautious optimism about current leadership. So that just lets me know that all of y'all are side-eyeing me, like, what you... What you gonna do? But I'm not gonna do this by myself, and I don't pretend to be able to do this by myself. But I appreciate the support and the optimism, because that's what we need to move forward and to make changes and lasting changes for our students. So the third one, the issues with the district focus and the integration of initiatives, I'm gonna hit on that a little bit. And then a lack of familiarity regarding our district strategic plan. Those are all kind of hit today. But number 5, the organization and climate quandaries. If we don't change our culture, we won't be able to do anything on that list, because culture trumps strategy every day, all day. So collectively, we all will have to do some things differently. So we'll go to the next slide, and I'll hit on the culture part in a little bit. So if we can go to the next slide. So after they looked at those 10 things, which we can't do all 10 things at once. Some of them naturally interlock. What they suggested were these 4 things. Target change that can make a difference. Alignment and focus is key. Building culture. And then it came out, and HR and SPED, I'm not putting you on the spot, but it said transformation is required. And honestly, I truly believe those 2 things came out because HR touches everybody, is the first touch and the last touch. So if that experience is not a positive experience, it impacts our culture. And I just want to acknowledge our HR team in the House. I know since we have made a few changes, done a few things, I've heard from a lot of people that while we haven't fixed everything, they can see that our current team under the leadership of Ms. Henry Devon are really making strides to address those culture issues. So I just want to take the time to thank them right now for all that they're doing. In our special education department, I just want to mention publicly, because I've gotten several emails from several people all year long, we are partnering with a couple of consultants, including the University of Kansas, to really look at and address some of the things that have come up. And I do want to be clear, some of the things are not about people, but about systems that either don't exist or outdated systems that we collectively have to shift and change in order to make sure that we're providing the services that are required for our students. So the next slide, as a team, as a district leadership team, we have our KCK team. When we have been working to really align and focus. Now, some of y'all looking like that's a whole lot, like it's a whole lot going on, but that's where we are. And that's a lot better than where we were, because last year I could not have shown this slide to show the conversations that you are having in your PLCs, the principals are leading, and our district leaderships teams are leading around how do we find alignment. So my hope is as we continue to do this, this slide will be a little simpler in the future as things are embedded and as a part of what we do. So that's addressing that strategic alignment in our focus and alignment to the things that we're doing. And this is our starting point. And the last slide that I'll show you today, I believe it's the last slide, if I'm wrong, Chris, is that as a part of that, our district leadership team, based off feedback that we've gotten from our building leaders and others, and through looking at the survey data, we've prioritized 3 things. Number 1 is to really focus on a coherent and aligned early childhood to 12th grade guaranteed and viable curriculum. If you go to our website and you click on our GVCs, you'll see lots of things. We are going to really have to narrow our focus and be strategic. So as I've said to principals a couple of times, and I'll say here and I'll say it, we're going to have to consciously uncouple from some things that some of you know and love in order to see the progress that we need to make with our students. The second priority is really to embed our multi-system of support. And I will say this right now, and it looks like it's an initiative, but the multi-tier system of support board should be how we do business. It should not be in isolation, a standalone. And I recognize we're not there, but we'll get there. We have to make sure that everyone has that foundational understanding of what's our tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. And it's just how we do business. It's not like, oh, we're doing this, and now we're going to talk about MTSS. MTSS should drive all the decisions we are making for our students. And last but most importantly, we have to make data-based decision-making. We got to look at the data and see what the data is telling us. The data tells us the story. Now, some of you know that you can manipulate data to say whatever you like. We really are going to look at our data to make informed decisions about where our students are and where they need to be, and we'll make data-based, student-centered decisions. And that's not always comfortable for adults because we have to recenter our focus on our students, and that needs to drive all of our decision making. Doesn't mean that we're neglecting what you need as adults and as educators and as employees. It means that all that we're doing, it has to get us to all of our students graduating with a Diploma Plus by 2031 because we know that will change the trajectory of their lives. So as a superintendent, I know firsthand that we have board members, educators, and support staff in this district who absolutely are committed to our mission. They live it every day. If you are a graduate of Kansas City, Kansas Public Schools, please stand up and be recognized by your peers wherever you are in your schools. I'm glad that you all gave them some love, but I did that because everyone that stood up was prepared for the role that they hold and what they're doing today by this district. And you saw people, it's the gamut. And one of the first things that came up was this is a proud and dedicated staff and community. So I know that it's been done, and the outcomes that were created for everyone that stood up, we can create those same outcomes for all of our students starting today. So if you were from Lawrence, I'd share the impact this book had on me. The only reason I said that because there are several people who were from Lawrence that came and joined the Kansas City, Kansas team before me, with me, and there will be several after me. But if they were in Lawrence a few years ago, I shared that I read the book Small Great Things by Jodi Picoult. While reading this book, I was reminded of the gift of reading a book. I listen to more books now, more so than read, or watching a movie and having the ability to see multiple perspectives. As you come to know and understand each character's story, I found myself, like some of you, I'm one of those people that sometimes talk to the TV in the book, thinking, as I turned the page, don't do that. Girl, if only you knew this, you would know, don't do that. As I was doing that, I thought if we all had that gift as we're making assumptions about why people were making different decisions and taking actions, to take a moment to step back and really try to look at things from someone else's perspective, we probably would be further along as a country, as a district, as a system. But unfortunately, right now in our country, we are so divided, and we see this division in our schools at times. Some of us are making assumptions about one another and not really taking the time to consider the other person's perspective, to find some common ground for the greater good. The title of this book is based on this quote from Martin Luther King Jr., "If I cannot do great things, I can do small things in a great way." Every day, each of us has the opportunity to do small, great things for our students, our colleagues, and our school families, to honor one another's perspective and honor one another's story. As we enter this new school year and continue to rebound, reimagine, and renew, I like to ask you to please keep in mind these three ideas. First, rebounding will require you to remember that the small things that you do every day are great. Greeting students in the halls, building authentic relationships with students, encouraging students to take an advanced class, and supporting our colleagues are just a few examples of small, great things that you can do every day. When I reflect on my own experience in school, as I shared with you last year, I have more positive memories than not. I knew that my teachers and the other adults that I saw every day at school believed in me. Some of them told me they believed in me. Others demonstrated their belief in their actions. My teachers had every reason not to believe in me. I'm the seventh child of 8. I had 6 siblings to go through the school system before me, and honestly, a few of them were more than challenging. My mother was a single mom by the time I was 5, and she never attended a school PTO meeting, a back-to-school night, or a parent-teacher conference. I received free lunches, and I didn't always show up prepared to learn. My teachers and other adults I interacted with at school never judged me. And I only say that because I didn't feel like I was judged. Like, kids can feel how you feel about them. So I showed up every day, and I thought I was everybody's favorite. I'm sure I wasn't. I'm absolutely sure I wasn't, but I felt that way. And none of them held against me what my older siblings did prior to me. And I was not a complete angel, but I still felt like I was everybody's favorite. They believed in me. They encouraged me. They set high expectations for me. They did small, great things for me daily. I ask you to do the same for at least one, for all of our students, but if each one of our students have at least one adult that they connect to and one adult that they feel like believes in them, they will show up like me thinking, I'm her favorite. And if they believe that they're your favorite, they're going to go above and beyond for you. And when they mess up, they will believe that you're going to forgive them and give them the grace to continue to do great things for themselves. So, secondly, reimagining will require all of us to think about doing things differently. The reality is we have more vacancies across the state than candidates in every area. Like when you go to restaurants, hotels, everywhere, there's a shortage of staff. It means that we're going to really have to think about what this school experience looks like and how we deliver services to our kids in a different manner. I'm not saying we can just do that right now. We're working hard to fill the vacancies, but all of you are creative educators, and we're going to need you to help us to think about what does this look like if this is our reality of how we can staff schools. Randy talked about like all the things that we're doing. We'll continue to do those things, but we are going to have to do some things differently. I also ask that when you're faced with a conflict or you're not in agreement with your colleague, administrator, or even me, lean into considering multiple perspectives and working towards finding common ground. When your technology is not working the way you had planned, we know we're experiencing that now, or you get a short notice that Infinite Campus is down, model what we ask our students every day: teamwork, resilience, perseverance, compassion, and empathy. And so many of you do that every day. So I'm just asking you to continue to do that. Give one another grace and model leadership. Leadership is not a position. You can lead at any time, any place, from any position. We are all leaders to our students and to one another. And finally, renewing must include practicing self-reflection. Ask yourself, what can I do? Divisiveness, hate, racism, discrimination, marginalization, and prejudice are all things I wish I did not have to talk about or experience. But they are a reality for me, for our district, and for every one of you and our students who look like me or have ever been othered in any form or fashion. As I reflect daily, I ask myself, what can I do? How can I show up differently? I ask each of you to do the same. It is so easy to blame and shame one another and avoid being a part of those working hard towards the solution. And as I shared with you last year, I don't have a magic wand to wave and fill all the vacancies, to fix institutionalized racism, to close the achievement gap, or to make every student feel safe and valued at school. But what I do have, however, is I work with over 4,000 competent and caring colleagues, and collectively, we can make our district's mission a reality. We are a team, a school family, a learning community. We are not enemies. Each of us represents Kansas City, Kansas Public Schools while we are at work, at home, on social media, and even when we're at the grocery store. So the next time you're tempted to say, the district should do this, or why did the district do that? I ask that you, so turn to your neighbor and say, you are the district. We are all the district. So the district is not this like thing. So I'm excited about all of the small great things that we can accomplish together this year as we rebound, reimagine, and renew this school year. Thank you for making the commitment to our mission, inspiring excellence, every grown-up, every child, every day. So I'm going to have a few of my team members to come up here and join me as we listen to our wonderful theme song that was written for our district. Because we are a team, we are a family, and we all are the district. I just want you to see the many different faces that represent our district. And to thank you, because each one of them that are coming up here represents various roles, and they're all staff members. And I do, as Randy talked about us being a team, as Don talked about us being a team, I do want us to recognize that we are a team. And teams hold each other accountable. They also push each other, and they are not always in agreement. But I just want everyone to know that we're a team, we're a family, and collectively, we can ensure that all of our students will graduate with a Diploma Plus by 2031. One stat I failed to share so that you can know it's a reality, last year 49% of our students graduated with a Diploma Plus. So I know it's an actual reality, and we'll continue to grow that number. So thank them for joining me. We didn't practice, obviously, but hey, you got to improvise and make it work. So thank each of you for joining me this morning up here, and you can take your seat, and I will pause and then introduce our special keynote. Thank you all. I was going to make them sing, but they got nervous. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So now to our keynote speaker. And before I do his introduction, I will say I had the pleasure of hearing him speak at a conference and was really inspired by the story that he shared. So our keynote speaker, Principal L, he has been a teacher and principal since 1987. He's a practitioner, and he's chosen to stay. As a passionate educator, Principal Dr. L believes that resilient teachers and leaders take risks, make courageous decisions, and challenge the status quo. Teaching is not easy. It is hard work. But he says we all play an important role in making a difference in the lives of our students and ensuring they are all exposed to an engaging curriculum and effective teaching. He's garnered national attention while speaking to groups around the country and making frequent appearances on C-SPAN, CNN, the Oprah Network, and the NPR radio. He studied at Cambridge University in England, Lehigh University in Pennsylvania, and he holds a doctorate in education from Wilmington University in Delaware. He has received the Marcus A. Foster Award as the Outstanding School District Administrator in Philadelphia and the University of Pennsylvania's Distinguished Martin Luther King Award, just to name a few. Please give a warm welcome, KCKPS welcome to Dr. Salome Thomas-El, Principal L.
Morning. Oh, come on, we got to be on fire for these children now. I know you saw little John Legend on the screen early this morning. If he didn't get you excited, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you very much. And you know what? I want to apologize to the young man who sang our national anthem. I wanted to shake your hand when I walked by, but I was so focused on our leaders who were coming up. It was such a great image to see you. And not only did I want to shake your hand, but I also wanted to compliment you on those nice shoes you have on there, Brother Brad. I don't know if anybody, I love shoes. And, you know, my teachers, the education professors is full of women, and y'all love to criticize men. But we'll talk about that at the next meeting. And they talk about all the shoes. And, they said, you have other colors than black, Principal L, But, yes, sir, I appreciate you and just your symbol of the success and excellence that is in our children. They just need the adults to tap into it, right? So I came up, and as your school board president, said, he went off script because I'm sitting there just taking notes and listening to everybody who's up here and listening to who's on the screen, because we need to always be learning. And I know I'm preaching to the choir, but the choir needs to be inspired too, right? We talked about that this morning with my board member. The impact of an educator is not based on our ability to teach, but rather our ability to learn and be curious. And those of us who embrace that role of being a learner, of a person who embraces change, those are the people who choose to stay for our children. And when you heard your board president, thank you for being here. Thank you for making that decision, because in challenging times, the bravest act is choosing to stay. And you made that choice. And it is a choice. And I want the world to know, and everybody out in our virtual audience, because I know we're in schools all over the district, in offices. I want everybody to know that being here is a choice that we make. It's a choice. We choose to do this for our children, for our colleagues, for those children you saw. For that little young man, Levi, who wasn't there for that swim lesson. You heard the emotion in that educator's voice, because we weren't there soon enough for him. But you saw the love. And I want to thank you all for making those choices, because somebody did it for us. Dr. King, when he was saying those words, those beautiful words, everybody didn't embrace that. But he made that choice to stay the course, to stay in the fight for us. And so many who came before us, made that. Now, before I get to preaching, because my teachers and staff often call me a wannabe preacher as well, and tell me I'm the one most likely to hold up a staff meeting. I don't know why you would say that to your boss, but 2 years in a row they gave me that award. I want to thank Dr. Stubblefield for your leadership, for your guidance. And I also want to, yes, please. Now, the only thing we need to talk about, though, today, folks, is I have a very short window to speak to you and speak to everyone out there in the district. So every time you clap, you're using my minutes, right? So we're on the shared family talk plan. Like, I had to tell my daughter, stop using up my data. They tell me they never use their phones, but I appreciate that. But I'm going to tell you what I'm also thankful for. I'm thankful for the fact that you follow her leadership. Because we live in a country, we work in school districts where women are the most educated, the most experienced, and most talented, but yet they somehow struggle to get these leadership positions. Because we live in a society where we don't want to recognize that they've carried our community for over 200 years. They have. You have. And good leaders are excellent followers. So we got to be able to be humble and be vulnerable and be able to follow good leadership. And understand that it's not always going to be right. It's not always going to be yes. You know, you can do that because we have to make decisions that we know are good for our children. And we must continue to follow and we must continue to embrace change. The issue many times for us is we don't oppose change, we oppose being changed. And I think that's what needs to happen if we're really going to build schools and districts where we're meeting children where they are and not where we are. So I think that's how we find success, you know, for our children. But again, I told you I wasn't going to preach today, so I'm going to get off of that, right? I want to say hello to our audience, everyone here, the high school for hosting us, everybody out in the virtual audience. And during my presentation, I'm going to be giving our audience here a chance to give input. And we've built in, so you folks out there in the virtual world, don't say we kicked you to the curb. We're going to have an option for you to be able to weigh in and give us your input, you know, as well. I want to thank Edwin. He doesn't get a lot of credit, but, you know, trying to put programs together like this. Let's give this brother, Mr. Birch, a big round of applause, please. Step by step, day by day, trying to keep things running. It's not an easy job, and we don't always, we don't seek the limelight. You know, and as you'll learn, if you don't already know, is I have a huge passion for chess and teaching children chess. And children have to learn early on that often the pieces that are not always out in front are the ones that end up winning the game for you. So, and the pawn, the smallest piece, is the only piece on the board that can become any other piece. Very important. Now, we don't need to talk about why the queen is the most powerful, and you know, the king is the most important, but the queen is the most powerful. And men, we struggle with that. We tried to change the rules, but we couldn't. But because we need to honor our queens for sure. But again, that's another meeting. We have them in the barbershops, but we won't talk about that right now. I also want to I want to thank whoever put that video together, because when you see those children, when you hear their voices, and when they talk about, you know, doing a good job, you ask yourself, like, how can I not be here for them? You know, I'm in my 35th year, 22 as a principal. I wake up every morning with determination. I go to bed every night with satisfaction. Now, there are many sleepless nights because I'm struggling and wondering how certain children are going to eat, how families are going to survive, how some of our new teachers are going to make it through the year. But when I hear those voices, when I see those faces, when you see those children in the pool, I say to myself, how can I not be here to witness that? How can I not be here for them? And every year, you know, I say, you know, listen, it's time for me to move on. You know, you got agents calling you and saying, you got to do this. We got this movie deal. We got this book deal. We want you to do this. And I said, well, I can't. They said, why? I said, because every year, some kid comes to me at the end of the year and says, are you coming back next year? And they know that pulls at your heart. And one year, I survived because, you know, every year we do the end of the school year. The kids leave on the bus, and we act like we're going to miss them, so we wave and say, you know, go ahead, y'all go. And especially the one to give an aspirin to headache, he makes sure he lets you know, hey. And one year, everybody left, and nobody asked old Principal L if he was coming back. You know, now I had a little kindergarten young lady call me Pop-Pop one day. I said, don't you ever call me Pop-Pop. And then on the bus as they move, and they say, see you next year. Because that message finds a way to reach you. And it may come through the tiniest of messengers, but it will come to you. And so, folks, if they didn't inspire you, because sometimes we think we're tired, but we're just uninspired. If that video didn't inspire you, then we need to have a talk, because that's the reason why we do what we do. That's the reason why we show up, you know, for our children. So I'm going to get my first slide up here at the beginning, because I'm going to move around. I asked for a cordless mic so I can move away from the podium, so I could keep an eye on my staff members. Because, folks, I'm a KA principal in Wilmington, Delaware. I still run staff meetings, and I often move around my meetings. And let's go back one slide for me. And in my meetings, I'm walking around, and I usually have a cordless mic, and I have staff members that have their laptops open and their tablets and whatnot. And I say, what are you doing? We're having a meeting. Oh, I'm working on my lesson plans for 2028. You ain't working on no lesson plan. Close that laptop. That's why I want to move around. And the Pope came to Philadelphia a few years ago, right after my Eagles won a Super Bowl, our only Super Bowl in 50 years. And the Pope said, I got an Eagles fan back there? Thank you, sir. And I love seeing my male educators. Can we give these men a round of applause, please, right? Give them. They're not many of us. They're not many of us, and we need to show up for our children and for these women who have been here. And so I'm thankful, and it doesn't matter who you are. I see many of us, we don't have hair, right? Don't matter. They don't care if you have hair, you're going to buy hair. Don't matter what color you are. They just want to know, are you going to be here tomorrow? Right? That's what they want to know. They need those positive male figures. But for me, and Dr. Stubblefield, when I heard your story, you said you were one of 8 siblings, right? I'm one of 8 siblings. I was the 7th child. Now I got a twin brother and one younger brother, raised by a single mom, and my mother's from Charleston, South Carolina, Southern mom, so I ate a lot of grits growing up, right? And okra and all that kind of stuff, and living onions. Folks, food people don't cook anymore. And our parents didn't walk the halls of many of these universities that we did. But they wanted more for us. They wanted more. And my older brothers, and 6 boys, and my older brothers and sisters weren't graduating from college. And when I graduated from college, I said, Mom, I know you're proud of me. You're the only child to ever graduate from college. I know I'm getting me a good meal. You might even let me eat out the pot, because she told me I could never eat out of her pots. She said, no, I'm going to fix you a good dinner, but I need you to do something else. I said, what do you need? She said, I need you to get a master's degree. I said, well, Mom, I said, what is it with you, Mom? You're never satisfied. She said, I need you to get a master's degree. She said, our people, these children need to see that we continue to pursue education. And so I said, okay, Mom. So I went and got my master's degree, and I took my master's degree, and I put it right there in front of her. I said, this is for you. I know you're going to be satisfied for the rest of your life. She said, oh, I'm happy. But you got one more thing you got to do. I said, what, you want me to get it framed? She laughed just like you did. She said, no, you got to get a doctorate. I said, Mom, you don't have any children that have any degrees beyond high school. I just got a bachelor's and a master's. And she said, you got to get that doctorate. The problem is my mother passed away in 2002, and I hadn't gotten that doctorate. And that's why you see this picture of me up here with these 2 gentlemen. One with a head looked just like mine, right? They're superintendent and assistant superintendent in the state of Delaware. Dr. Jones and Dr. Vary, and I was sitting in the because after my mother passed away, I become a principal, got real busy, and just said, my mom's never going to know I didn't get my doctorate. Folks, if you've ever lost somebody, they continue to talk to you. They continue to watch and guide you. And I kept hearing my mother's voice. And I decided to, I've been working on my dissertation for years and years, and I'm sitting in the class, and that young man walked up to me, and he said, I thought you had your doctorate. Principal, I said, no, I don't. And he said, well, I'm going to support. I really think my mother sent him to me. He said, I'm going to help you. I'm going to support you. He was teaching a doctoral level statistics class, so I was in the wrong place. And these 2 gentlemen will call me and they say, listen, you can't edit a blank page. Stop trying to write a book. Just write your dissertation. Do what you need to do. And they were not from the same community, don't look like me, not in my family, but they knew if we're going to improve education in our community, we got to help one another. We got to support each other. Like the brother said to me over here, because he's being so helpful, and I thanked him. And I said, I'm sorry, to need so much help. And he said, no, we help each other. That's the message that I got from someone in your district. That's your culture. And that's what I felt from these two young men here. And in April 2019, I defended my dissertation. And my staff members came. And the president of the university came. And I asked the president, I said, why'd you come? You know, I heard about presidents. She said, well, they had called and said there were a large number of staff members here, and I wanted to see it. And she said, do you know why they're here? I said, well, I talked to a couple of them, and I asked them, and I said, why'd you all come out? I thought they were proud of me. They said, no, you've been talking a long time about finishing. We wanted to make sure you were really done, right? We wanted to be sure. So, folks, so what I do is, at any opportunity I get, I make sure that I acknowledge these two young men for helping me and assisting me in making a dream come true that my mother had for me over 2 decades ago. And I don't want to wait until they retire. I don't want to wait until their funeral. I don't want to wait until I can't find them no more and got to find them on social media. I make sure I do it while they are still in the battle, in the field. So the first thing I'm going to ask you to do before I move on is I'm going to ask you, someone in the audience, to acknowledge someone in this school district who has influenced your life, who's influenced your career, and to say and to do it publicly. There's a reason why we profess our faith publicly, so people can hold us accountable and make us responsible. But I need someone in this audience, and it can be from my in-school suspension section, detention, after school, doesn't matter which section you are in, but someone in this district needs to know that they impacted your life. Is there one? Oh, I see one in the back. Yes, no, we don't have a mic, but if somebody can just get close, you can. Okay. Now let me repeat. Now, first of all, what's your name?
My name is Paula
Carlock, and you are where? At Hazel Grove Elementary, right? And you want to acknowledge who? Mary Stewart, because I want everybody out there in the virtual world to hear us as well. Mary Stewart, and she's where? She's the principal at Wyandotte High School. And how did she influence you?
She was my volleyball coach.
She was your volleyball coach?
And I was a little something else.
You all a little handful, huh? Okay. We know, we talk about that in the barbershop. We know about that. You were a handful. And then how did she help you? Took you under her wing and kept encouraged. Let's give her a round of applause, please. Let's give her a round of applause. Thank you for doing that. And see, that's the immortality of influence. See, people will talk about you even when you're not around. They will mention your name. They will talk about your work. Very important. And so that was my section there. I need someone in the middle. I need someone to come to the altar and talk about somebody who influenced your life. You're going to make me pass the basket around in a minute. I got one in the front and one there. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Maxine Drew on the board.
Maxine Drew on the school board.
I was influenced by Dr. Valdina Wynn, who was an instructor at KCK-NEA College, who put me on the path to become a teacher.
Yes, ma'am.
For 35 years, and now I'm on the school board because of her leadership.
Give me that name again.
Dr. Valdina Wynn, she's on our school board.
Dr. Valdina Wynn is on the school board, influenced your life. Amen. And 35 years. You look like we can bring you back and teach some more. You said they better come to you, huh? They better come to the school board meeting. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Yolanda Burris.
Okay. Yolanda Burris.
The lady that influenced me was Mabel Lee. She was my 6th grade teacher.
Mabel Lee, 6th grade teacher. What school?
No longer with us.
She's no longer here.
And I'm just excited and happy that I had the opportunity to really spend time with her before she left us.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank her for encouraging us because she did not stop.
Mm.
She stayed on me. She stayed on all of us. And she was so encouraging. I just kept telling myself, I want to be just like her.
Wow. Now, what school was she? At Chelsea Elementary. Anybody remember Miss Lee was her name?
Mabel Lee.
Anybody remember Mabel Lee? Anybody? Do you remember? Amen. Mabel Lee influenced your life. Thank you very much, ma'am. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Now, if you folks have ever worked in the school or been in the classroom, you had to know I was coming your way. You had to know with anticipation. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
I had a fifth grade school teacher. Since she said that her teacher is no longer with us, my teacher's still with us. Her name is Susan Hodges.
Susan Hodges. Now, what is your name? Ayana Irvin. Susan Hodges influenced Ayana Irvin. Now, where she's still here? She's still in the district? She's not in the district. She's retired. Retired. She was my fifth grade teacher at Bryant Elementary. Fifth grade teacher at Bryant Elementary. And what was her last name again? Miss Hodges. Anybody remember Miss Hodges from Bryant Elementary? You remember? Yes, ma'am. And how did she influence? Facebook friends now, too. So. Oh, see, Facebook. She said we're Facebook friends, huh? That helps, doesn't it? You a handful. We got a lot of handfuls in this group here, y'all. This must be the handful. This the handful group.
And she was like, she's the only one that I think in elementary school that believed in me. So there was a math competition going on at Eisenhower, and she chose me to. Now I don't like math, still don't like math, but she believed in me enough to push me to go. I didn't go far in the competition, but she believed in me enough to push me to go and challenge myself.
She believed in you until you believed in yourself. She told you were going to like math. And we all need somebody like that. And so if there are any, yes, let's give all these, and give them all a round of applause. And thank you for acknowledging those people. Thank you so much, because there's a new teacher in the audience who's wondering if they're going to be able to, who's wondering, what am I going to do with that handful? Well, you see how these handfuls turn out. There's someone, we got one here? Oh, okay. Y'all got to help me out over here now. Come on now. Oprah got people that help. Yeah, I'm on my own here, see? Yes, ma'am. Maxine Drew? Oh, come on, Maxine, talk to me. Now, what's your name? What is it? Ramika Westbrook. Okay, and you work where? Hazel Grove. Okay, Hazel Grove. And tell us how you were influenced. Wait, now what'd you say about hot mess? Because you went real quick. You went real quick over that. Yo, you went real quick over that hot mess. Wait a minute, you said you were or were not a hot mess? So wait a minute, what does that mean you were not necessarily a hot? See, I got two daughters. So I know you ladies are high maintenance at any age, and I know you know how to say one thing but mean another thing. So you mean you were almost a hot mess? She said I was lazy. You were lazy. She didn't let you be lazy, did she? She's amazing. Give her a round of applause. Amen. Amen. Thank you. Thank you. I got more people standing up. See, y'all, listen, y'all stealing my minutes. Come on, sister, talk to me.
Thank you. I need to acknowledge Miss Maxine Drew as well. My name is Jessica, but can you please stand, Miss Drew?
Oh, my Lord, have mercy. Thank you. How did she influence you?
This lady, she helped me find my voice. I was the quiet student. My mother did not play. She still doesn't. Miss Maxine Drew pulled it out of me. She made me speak in front of the class, answer her questions accurately and efficiently. And I just thank you. I thank you for who I am today.
Wow, wow, wow. See, they're more than a board member, y'all. And just in case, folks, I know most people know, but I don't know, many times the board members are the only unpaid people in a lot of these meetings we go to. That's service that you say, oh, amen, right? and then folks always say you got a minute, and then an hour later still talking. But more than just a member of a board. These are people who have been impacting lives, impacting the community. And I want to thank you, because you know it takes a humble person to have the confidence and the courage to celebrate another person. And it happens in our profession, and that's why I love this profession. And many people don't know what happens outside of what we do. The media won't tell that story. The view of a school from the outside looking in is much different from the inside looking out. But I want to thank you for doing that. And one thing, you got all emotional now. I'm sorry, that wasn't my goal. But ma'am, I can't change the fact that you were amazing. I can't change the fact that you changed an almost hot mess to somebody that could pass any test. You got the handfuls. But that's what it takes. It's all about the adult in the room. Folks want to go other places thinking the grass is greener. Water your grass. And the sprinkler is not going to hit the same grass every day. It'll miss that grass. But that grass know the water's coming. And many times you'll get to that greener grass and it's sod. Might even be astroturf. All hard and can't grow anything, no flowers. Weeds won't even grow on it. But I'm going to stop. Because I told y'all I'm a teacher, not a preacher, not an electrician, fighter, writer, or politician. I'm just a man with the key to your ignition. Right? See, that's the old Curtis Blow line. See, these young people, now I'm going to give respect to you, brother, because I know you. Yeah, I saw you on the screen, too. I saw you. But y'all didn't invent rap. We did. Y'all ruined it. All this Snoop Cat and Little Kim and all these other, worth millions of dollars and call himself 50 Cent. See, we didn't have rappers like that. We had rappers that talked about being educated, right? I'm DMC, in the place to be. I went to St. John's University, and since kindergarten, I acquired the knowledge, and after 12th grade, I went straight to. See, that's what we listen to. And our mothers, and we didn't have to have the earbuds on. We just throw the 8-track tape. Oh, I'm dating myself now, right? Cassette tape, they don't know. Yeah, I go out, I go in my classrooms and I rap for the kids. And, we don't want to hear those old school raps. And then as soon as I leave, come on, give us one more. And then they get all riled up, and then I leave. The teachers got to calm them back down. And they say, don't come in here, Principal L. And I tell them, when we listen to music, it was about vocabulary. I said, you give me any word. And we had a song for it. They said, what about Facebook? I said, Facebook wasn't out back then. I said, but you want to have those friends on Facebook, don't you? I said, friends, how many of us? Oh, no. Ones we can depend, right? Friends is a word we use every day. Most of the time we use it in the wrong way. You can look the word up again and again, but the dictionary doesn't know the meaning of friends. And if you ask me, I couldn't be much help because a friend's somebody you judge for yourself. Some are okay and they treat you real cool, and here's your part. And some mistake your kindness for being them. Ooh, you like to be with some because they're funny. Others come around when they need some. There we go. Some you grew up with around the way, and you're still real close to this very day. Home girls through the summer, winter, spring, and fall. And then there's some you wish you never knew at all. This list goes on again and again. But these are the people that we call. Yes. But that's old school. That's when you can sit out on the porch all night and not have to worry about anything. But you knew when that street light came on, then roll call. That's what we go back to. And our children want that. They need that. They need that discipline, that structure. They're not going to tell you. But don't show up to work one day and see what they say. Where were you yesterday? Right? Because that predictability is so important. That's that safety they need. Because they see you as a parent, as a God, as support. It's what you talked about, brother. That's what they need. And I'm sorry, ma'am, I know you were standing up. You wanted to say something, and I just got to rapping and dapping. So come on, let me hear from you. Oh, and then 2, 3 more. See, this is how women are. Now, see, this is how they are. I said one. I said ma'am, not ma'ams. I said ma'am, and then one, papa, like I'm at the carnival. Papa. But you know what? We're going to hear from everyone. Even if I don't get through what I need to do, we're going to hear from every one of you today. Because we need to. Yeah, which one first, sir? Which one we going to do? Okay, come on. That's okay. That's what you do. That's in your DNA. Don't apologize. That's like the hot mess. Don't even worry about it. You can be? Well, at least you're going to own. At least you're owning that. Yes, ma'am. Melinda Lee teaches here at Watson High School. Okay. 7th year. In the late 90s, you taught at Wyandotte. So, okay. Who? Sally Nelson influenced your life in what way? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That's a real friend. See, that's what we were rapping about. See, that's a real friend. That's a friend no matter when you're down, they don't judge you. When you need help, that's somebody there for you. You know, in the community where I grew up, we got a name for that person. That's your ride or what? That's your ride or die right there. You thick and thin. Thank you for that. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Amen. Where's Miss Brown? Where's Miss Brown? God bless you. Thank you, man. Now, what's your name, ma'am? No, wait, I'm the one that just spoke. What is it? Miss Smith. All right, that's Miss Smith, just in case she said she reminds you, but I just wanted to make sure you hear that. Because you know, I knew when I met you, and I don't have to eat a whole pot to know it tastes good. Tell you, my mother from the South. I know your impact. I know you're impacting lives. Continue to do so, and have done it, you know, for years. And this is why we do this work, folks, because the people we touch will go on and touch thousands of other people. That's how we influence an entire community. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Wow. Wow. Amen. But the flowers, congratulations. So I'm going to wrap up this portion, but the only thing that I need you to help me with, did any man stand up and recognize anybody? Was there one? Fellas, we can't do that. We can't do that. Somebody got to stand up and acknowledge it. I know it's nowhere in the world, all of these men sitting here, you were educators and nobody influenced your, I got one in the back. Did you stand up earlier? I may have missed you, but if I didn't, I want to thank you. And I got two more. See, I love it. But we got to be real quick, okay? No, you up. You don't stay up. Don't do me like my students. They halfway stand up, halfway raise their hand. Yes, sir. Miss Christian Scott. Oh, she's in, stand up, she's right here. Amen. Thank you, sir. Thank you for that. Yes, sir. We can't sit there and hold this in. These folks, they need, and they're so humble. They don't even want to stand up when you call their name. So we gotta shout it out. So I appreciate you doing that. Yes, sir. Now, give me his name again. Give me his name again. Nor Van Daniel. You remember him? Amen. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Yes, sir.
My name's Caleb Austin from Hazel Grove, and I wanted to acknowledge a professor from Wichita State that I had in my undergraduate, Sandy Peer. She taught our elementary math course for teaching elementary math, and up until that point, I had no confidence in mathematics. I had to retake math multiple times. College algebra was like 3 times.
Mm-hmm. We've been there.
So she really inspired me to continue to have a growth mindset and to accept challenge and persevere. So she's no longer with us, but I'd like to thank her.
She's no longer with us. Now, can you give me her name one more time? Caleb Austin. Anybody else remember her from the university at all? Yeah. Oh, that's your name. You're Caleb. What's her name? Sandy Peer. Anybody remember Sandy Peer from the university? You do. So that's someone who's influencing multiple people right in the same room. A blessing for sure. So I'm going to move through my program because you used up many of my. Here come the young. Oh, damn. Y'all planned this. Y'all planned this. I was done. But I got to give him a chance. I have to. Because he's going to teach me how to sing one day. Yes, sir.
I'm a student at Washington High School.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to be a junior this year. But I would love to give thanks to my music teacher, Mr. Jones, who was the first music teacher at Isaac School, and my band teacher, Mrs. Solo.
Can you both stand up if you're in the room, please, for me? Stand. Thank you. Yes, sir. Okay.
Mrs. Solo and him really gave me a lot of encouragement, especially my 6th grade year when I didn't feel like anyone would like me or would want to be my friend, but they were really encouraging to push out for me.
Said, at a time when he felt nobody wanted to be his friend, to teach encouraging. I'm going to tell you a common theme I'm hearing, is that teachers are instilling confidence in people, right? Making people feel like they can do it. They can go get in a math competition when they don't even like mathematics, right? Making sure that you have a friend. I'll come and sit with you if nobody else is going to sit there. So if there's any, raise your hand if you're new to the profession or new to the district. Raise your hand if you're new, right? There are going to be some days, right, when you're going to question your decision. There are going to be many of those days. But I want you to really, truly think about the fact that we've all had those days. But there's some young person who is going to be changed by the fact that you're going to push through. I told people when I was a new teacher in 1987, these children are not going to make me cry. I'm from the hood. They don't make, no. First week, that was done. That was it. Then I said, all right, okay, I'm going to maintain my dignity. They're not going to see me cry. A couple weeks later, I broke down. I couldn't believe that there were actually children in this world who didn't sit down when you said sit down. Because we know what our parents did when we didn't sit down, right? You know, the president had his leave no child behind. Many of us, our parents believed in leave no child with a behind, and it worked. But some of those young people now, and I worked in an alternative program for a couple of years. One of those young men just received his master's degree in the alternative You know, it's just a matter of staying the course. choosing to stay in challenging times, making those decisions. I'm going to move forward. I'm going to move forward. These three gentlemen, after our next slide, after I defended my dissertation, we decided to write a book together, and it led to 3 books on leadership. We wrote this book, Retention for Change, before the pandemic, because we knew teacher retention, because this pot's been boiling for decades. We knew this was going to be an issue. So what we've got to get back to, what you heard your superintendent talk about, changing cultures, because that's really what it takes. But the issue, folks, when we want to change cultures, is that means everybody has to do their part. And that becomes the problem. It can't just be 1 or 2 people. We're all crew. There are no passengers. We're all rowing that boat if we're truly going to change the culture where we are, where we're creating a culture where people are knocking the door to get in instead of knocking the door to get out. That became very important. But next slide. But my mantra has always been, and the doc, you talked about this, that every child, it's almost like you wrote my program today. This has been my mantra. Every child needs someone crazy about them. And Dr. Rita Pearson, a powerful TED Talk. Every child needs a champion. Rest in peace. We've lost so many of our education soldiers, but their influence lives on. And that's what it's about. Are the children in our presence, do they really feel like I have someone who's going to go to the mat for me, who cares about me, who, when other people don't want to be my friend, are willing to say, listen, no, it's not about you, it's about them. That's what we do. And before I was Dr. L, I was little Salome Thomas-El, growing up in that single-parent home in the inner city in Philadelphia, in a tough community. My mother was an advocate for me, and walked into my 3rd grade classroom. My 3rd grade teacher was a young white female, not from our community, but there every day saving Private Ryan. And my mother walked in and said, you know, I need help. My older children not graduated from college, and one of my children must graduate. My teacher had every reason to say, I can't focus on your child, your son. I have 25, 30 other students to help, but that's not what good teachers do. Excellent teachers move ordinary children to do extraordinary things. She worked with my 4th grade teacher, who was an older African-American female that had been in our school about 30 or 40 years. We thought she came with our building. Had about 10 after-school programs, and not one had a title. They were all called Get In Here. And we all, right, Mrs. Stewart, we all had somebody like that. We all had that mentor, that role model that made sure that we were safe. And those ladies helped me to get into a middle magnet school for gifted students, knew I was struggling, supported me. I went on to high school and became a high school basketball player and thought I could skip college and go right to the NBA. And yeah, my teachers laughed just like you did. And they cornered me and they said, you know, high school folks, they always know what's going on. My counselor and my teacher. And they said, we heard you talking about skipping college and going to the NBA. I said, yes. Do you know a good agent? They said, no, but we've seen you play basketball. They said, son, you can't jump over a credit card. So you are not going to the NBA. But you're smart enough to get an MBA. Why don't you go away to college and come back and help the same community that supported you and supported your family? And they were right. Went away to college and came back with a 4-year degree, but had the biggest fear that many of our children face. I came home with a degree and no job. And there were people in the community waiting to tell me I wasted my time. You're listening to teachers, you're listening to your principal, you're listening to your mother, you're right back on the corner with us. You've been better off in the state pen instead of Penn State. Why'd you choose Yale over jail? I called my teachers. You told me to go to college. She said, yeah, but I didn't tell you get a job. She said, I told you when you came home from school, those children will be waiting for you. And you can say to them, you can be me because I was once you. Then they know that they can make it. She said, but I have a brother that works he's an executive producer for a sports channel. I can get you a part-time sports cable job. I was an undergraduate communications major, so I was happy. But I knew my friends back in the neighborhood would not be impressed with a part-time sports cable job. So I told my friends I worked on Nightline with Ted Koppel. They didn't know anything about the nightly news. Most of my friends, it took them 2 hours to watch 60 Minutes, so they didn't know anything about the news. But many of the children we work with, there's this fear of alienation, that they won't respect me if I'm educated. They won't think I'm cool but it's always those teachers that give us that confidence, to help us feel like we're not really a hot mess, that we can truly, truly be who we want to be. And when we grow up and become teachers, we never forget about them. You want to make sure we call their names, and I'm thankful for that because it's so important. It's so important for all of us to make sure that we remember those educators who touched our lives. And my teacher said, why don't you come to our career day at high school and talk about your job? And I had an amazing job. Every week, every month, we spend a day with an NBA player and produce a 5-minute feature with aired halftime of games, a day in the life, Michael Jordan, a day with Larry Bird, Julius Erving, Danny Manning. Well, one day with Charles Barkley. One day was very interesting, folks. But all of these players would talk about their former coaches, their parents, their former teachers. And I went into the high school and I started talking about these players, and the students didn't ask me my name. They wanted to know how many cars did Michael Jordan have and how much money did Larry Bird have. But there were a few who came to me after the program because I told them how those teachers supported me. My mother never owned a car, never had a driver's license. The first day my mother ever visited the campus, the East Stroudsburg University where I graduated from, was the day I graduated. My teachers took me to college every year. And when I told the students that, they came to me after the program and said, if those teachers helped you, how come you aren't a teacher? It was the first time in my life that someone had asked me a question. I had no response. I didn't know why I hadn't become a teacher. And I went in and I quit my job and got that master's degree from my mother and a certificate to teach. And I went back to the same high school and started teaching. I thought those students would welcome me back, say, welcome back, Cotter, or something. I heard the lady say, welcome back. The young people don't know about that. But those young people made me feel like I can walk on water. It's what children do. But I also realized working in the high school that high school reform does not begin in high school. That 50% of the students who drop out or think about dropping out, they do so in the 9th grade or before, especially in many urban areas. So I knew if I was going to make an impact that I had to begin when children were earlier. So I spent the next 10 years of my career in our feeder middle school. And in 10 years in our community, we lost almost 20 students to murder in that community. And there's no teacher certification program that will ever prepare you to walk into your school and see a chair that a child will never sit in again. And I said, I've got to find a way to teach these children they can choose the behavior, they can't choose the consequences. So I started teaching them chess. I started teaching special education students mathematics on a chessboard. Knights move on right angles, bishops move on diagonals. The chessboard is a large square that contains 64 smaller squares. I thought I was just giving these students mathematics, but what I was truly giving them was intellectual capital. Because if you don't believe anything else about a child who carries a chessboard, you believe that they are what? Exactly, smart. And I actually learned that smart is not something you are, it is something you can become. And these students would walk, they started beating me right away, beating other teachers and carrying chessboards. And the students said, you play chess? Aren't you in the Learning Disabled program? They said, yes, I am. Let's play a match and see if you should be my roommate, right? It humbles you. And the teacher said, why don't you take them out and have them compete against other elementary and middle schools? And I worried because I said, they're winning, they found something they're good at, they're confident now. Do I want to shatter that? But I said, you know what? They need to go out there. They need to compete. Even if they don't want to, they need to compete. But you know what? They won. They won every match. Didn't lose. And they were happy. But guess who was not happy? Me. And I need someone in the audience, and I need someone in our virtual audience, go on to that YouTube page and put it in the chat. I need someone in our live audience and out there in our virtual audience to get inside of my head. The way we teach our teachers and teach our students. Try to think like I think. Why do you think that I was not happy about those children winning those chess matches right away? I'm waiting for those hands. Because when we teach classes, we're always encouraging students to raise our hand. So let me see if the educators who encourage that are modeling that. Look at the hands. Look at how many are going up. Is somebody going to represent our profession? I got a hand here. Yes, sir.
If all you do is win, you never have to face a challenge, and the challenge of losing and changing the game and changing things when they
So losing changes you. It challenges you. And if it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you. I like that. You're a little young to be a philosopher. So basically what you're saying is failure is motivating, success can be paralyzing. Wow, that's powerful. So true. So many challenges come with losing, with struggle, but in many school districts, in many schools, in many states, folks don't want to talk about growth. They don't want to talk about struggle. But that's how we build resilient children. I saw another hand. Yes. We got a response online. What we got? The student will be crushed when they lost a match. Now, that was a big concern when I started going out. But once they started winning, I didn't struggle with that because I knew they were going to win. You got another one?
Because the test scores didn't reflect their academic growth and school value based on that?
They said test scores didn't reflect. Oftentimes, the skills that we teach students that we know are successful, they won't be measured on the state test. We know that. We do know we need to know where our students are. It's how we measure growth. But we also know that there are so many skills that we teach our students that will impact their lives beyond what's measured on a high-stakes test. I see a hand in the back. Yes, ma'am. Ooh, you went a little deep on that, didn't you? She said, I didn't. Well, you know what, to be honest with you, I didn't. So you're calling me out, right? So thank you. You ladies are. And you know, ladies, that's how men are. When we do, when we load the dishwasher, we don't want to get credit. We just don't want to not get credit. But you just gave me credit for something I don't want credit for. But that was so true. That was I expected them to really struggle because we had never gone outside of the school to do that. But they shocked me. And I love that aspect, but I wasn't happy because of what that young man described. That struggle. That struggle is what our children, we got to move away from the society where everybody needs a trophy. Right? Our children can handle, we learn from failure. If you can look up, you can get up. And I think that's what we need for our young, building, let's skip a couple slides for me. Building resilient children is not about teaching them, right there is great, teaching them how to respond when they're successful. It's about teaching them how to respond when they're not successful. But you know who else I know who needs to learn from this too? I know some grown folks that need to learn when you don't get the job doesn't mean you just shut down and no, it just means you got to try again. Or when we teach that lesson, because I've had many that did not go the way I wanted it to go. But we learn to push through. And so for me, I had to challenge those young people because they were winning. They were so arrogant, they didn't even want to come to practice anymore. They said, practice? You talking about practice? And so I said, you know what, I know a way. We only compete against high schools now. I'm going to humble these young people. And the children were okay with it. Who in the community was upset with me that they were going to be competing against? Oh, yeah, they went to the superintendent on me. And you know how I know I have some parents at special ops. They let me know when the superintendents and parents are talking about firing me. They said, we saw them in Target or Walmart, and we heard Liberty Bell and Principal L, and it was chess, so we thought you were getting fired. And I went to the assistant superintendent and said, I need you to have my back. And she said, I got your back. You just better win. But remember, winning is not always the end goal. It's what we like, but we really want those students because life is not like that. So those students, they lived up to what I wanted them to do. They lost, and they kept losing. And then they beat Central High School's chess team, which is the oldest high school, one of the oldest high schools in the nation. It's actually Bill Cosby's alma mater, but I don't talk about Cosby anymore. And I said, if you keep raising the bar for these children, they'll rise to your level of expectation. And then the teacher said, take them to a tournament. Many of these children in our community never get to travel. There's a large achievement gap. There's also a major exposure gap. So I decided I was going to take these children to the largest team versus team event in the world, larger than the Olympics, over 220 teams, no age limit. The U.S. Amateur Chess Championship. Took these students there, and the first match, they matched up against Bucknell University's chess team, and one of the players was a graduate student who had come back to play with his friends. Remember, no age limit. And I told the young people, I'm proud of you. Remember, this is all about building your skills. And after the match, I was happy. They weren't crying. They weren't upset. They knew what it was about. And when I told them how proud I was, they said, yeah, but there's one issue, Mr. L. We beat that team. So I went to find the graduate student. I said, sir, what happened? He said, I have 2 questions for you. Are these middle school students or tiny adults? He said, who is the chess master that works with them? I said, we're from a poor school district. We can't afford a chess master. These children are surrounded by teachers and staff and administrators who teach them that success only comes before work in the dictionary. And these students went on to defeat a team in the same tournament, 4 men whose combined age was over 200 years, never done before. Took the student, and then later that year we went to the national championship in Knoxville, Tennessee, and won the nationals, came back home, and Arnold Schwarzenegger came to visit our students. This is when he wanted to run for governor and run for president, and he came talking about politics and technology and education and movies and all, and then he started talking about chess and how he makes everybody play on the movie set to keep them alert. And I said, Arnold, you don't want to talk about chess around these kids. Then challenged one of my young ladies. You don't want to play this girl. They treat the pieces like offspring. They'll play hours and never trade a piece. It frustrates my guys. And Arnold said, no, I want to play her. Little Denise Picker, pink glasses, honor roll student, but she in church every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. She was powerful. She was also one of the top 50 female chess players in the nation in the age division, and she checkmated Arnold. And Arnold said, you terminated the Terminator. Then he wrote a check for our program for $20,000. We purchased blazers and luggage for our students. These students travel. We've never asked our schools just for a dime. These children travel to Portland, Seattle, Arizona, Florida, Yugoslavia to play against the national team. Away from home, 5, 6, 7 days sometimes, call home. Many of them may not speak to a parent, maybe a sibling. Fly into the Philadelphia airport, international airport. Some of them wouldn't have anyone to meet them there, but the teachers are always there because they know every child needs someone to be crazy about them. They know that the children they want those children to say when it's all said and done, you did a good job. Job well done. And so I decided then that I wanted to go on and become a principal. And when I wanted to take over an elementary school right near our school, I knew I needed to be focused. I couldn't focus, concentrate on 20 things. I needed to find 4 that I really wanted to be excellent at. And so I developed these 4 C's of school success. There's a slide I have with these 4 C's, right? And you know, number 1 had to be, we got to be crazy about these children. Every day, what we do, we need to be crazy about our kids, and they're more powerful, curious about their lives outside of school. Because you know what, folks, during this pandemic, which has been a struggle for us and our children, the people who made those connections, who built those relationships, knew about those families outside of school, they helped us serve those families. Because I called myself being a great principal, and I made sure that all my children had devices, and my teachers came and said, Principal, you sent 2 devices to the household, and we have 7 kids that live in that house. I said, but that's not what our system says. They said, yeah, but several were homeless, and families took them in. Because they made those connections. They knew those families, and then didn't tell me, you go deliver them, came with their backpacks and said, we're delivering food, so we'll drop off the laptops when you load them up. That's what you do. That's what the world doesn't know about, but we know that's what you do. And then of course, consistent adults in the lives of our children. And so I need someone in the audience, or if someone in our virtual audience wants to share with us, give me an example of something you've done, or a colleague, to show children that you're crazy about them, or that you're curious about their lives outside of school. What's something you've done to serve children? What's something, maybe something you've attended? What's something that you've provided for families just to let them know I'm there for you? And I've heard some serious stories. I've had teachers in Texas say that they had floods and they had a friend send a boat to rescue children. This is what teachers are thinking about. Is there one? Is there one? Yes, ma'am. Can you give me his name again, please? Kenneth is right there hiding. Come on, Kenneth, stand up. Come on, let's give you a round of applause, Kenneth. Thank you for what you do. And thank you for giving him a shout out, man. Thank you. And this oftentimes, this is why some men struggle joining our profession, because folks, I don't know if you know, but men, you know, we like attention. And they struggle because they know that this is a profession where we just don't get that attention. But I want to thank you for pointing that out. And that consistency as well, so important. We got one here. Yes, ma'am.
I want to acknowledge Martin Cervantes.
Okay.
Martin Cervantes works with some of our most at-risk youth, some of our families the greatest in need. He's a representative from the Juvenile Detention Center.
Okay.
And he makes sure that families have beds, kids have bikes.
Amen. Is he in the audience? He's probably providing things for families. He's watching in the building. What school?
He's with the
Juvenile Detention Center. Give me his name again. Martin Cervantes. Please give him a round of applause. Serving our families, serving our children. These are examples, folks. This is why we do what we do. And lastly, developing a culture of love and support for our children. High expectations, empathy, patience, care, concern, understanding. This is why we do what we do. This is why you do what you do. There would be no me without you. And so I want to thank you today for all you do. You know what I really want to thank you for? It's for standing up and recognizing and celebrating our educators, because if we don't do it, who will do it? Thank you. So let's give them all one more big round of applause, please, and yourselves as well. And so I'm going to close with this is something I leave my staff with as they complain about me holding up staff meetings all the time. I'm going to leave them with this quote that I often share with them. Let's stop praying for a lighter load and start praying for a stronger back, because we know this work, we know it doesn't get any easier. And we know the load won't get lighter. We've got to get stronger so we can be there. Those children who were singing in that video, they need us to be there. The children will be waiting when schools open. They will be waiting for us. So, folks, please, and let's please connect with me on social media. The next slide has my social media. Reach out to me. Listen, I may send you an autographed book. Who knows? But what I want you to do is I want you to continue to support these children, support one another, and to remember that we are called to do this work. These children will keep us on our toes and our knees every day, but we are called to do this. KDO's Bendiga. God bless you. Thank you very much. Have a great school year. Thank you again.
That's the end of our program. On behalf of the Board of Education and Superintendent Dr. Stubblefield, have a great school year.